What the hell is going on, boys? This might be one of the most valuable videos I've ever created. And we're just going to get right into this, right? This is going to be pretty much all of the basics that you need to know for optimizing your health and natural testosterone. So high natural testosterone, optimal mental health and mental performance, optimal physical performance, emotional control, libido, overall well-being, creating a strong aesthetic anabolic physique, and overall health in general. All of the basics that you need to know for being a man in the modern day and optimizing your physicality and mentality as much as possible. Just to give you a whole picture of what we're going to go over today, this is massive, and there are 6 main facets here that we're going to optimize. Endocrine disrupting chemicals, so optimizing your environment, sleep, nutrition, mindset, training, and supplementation, all right? Each one bottlenecks the one before it. If you're being exposed to a bunch of endocrine disrupting chemicals and your sleep is great, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, I mean, it does to a certain extent, but it's not going to be as good as it could be. If your sleep is bad, but you're eating correctly, your nutrition is not going to matter because your sleep is bottlenecking the results that you can get. So what is an EDC? EDC stands for endocrine disrupting chemical. Okay, this is something that comes into your environment that negatively affects your health or your hormones. So we're going to start with tap water. Why is tap water so bad? It has pretty much every endocrine disruptor that we're going to talk about contained in it, as well as literal birth control. Most water treatment plants cannot filter out birth control because hormone particles are so tiny. That means reverse osmosis filtered water only. You can remineralize it, which we will talk about here in a bit. Plastics, right? Bottles, Tupperware, Ziploc bags. Anytime you use these, you are exposing yourself to microplastics. Microplastics are estrogenic, and often they come with plasticizing ingredients that wreck your hormones even more. Get these out of your life. Next, optimizing your environment. Air purification. This is optional. If you can, get an air purifier in your room or in your home somewhere. 90% of the dust in your home is microplastics. It is not dead skin, contrary to popular belief. Get cotton bedding. Why? When you're sleeping on a pillowcase made of polyester, little fibers of polyester come off of the pillowcase and you inhale them. So you breathe in microplastic. When you have polyester bedding, when you have polyester pillowcases, it creates microplastics where you sleep. Eliminate polyester bedding, swap to cotton. Cotton underwear. Sperm motility goes way down when men wear polyester underwear versus 100% cotton underwear. Another thing with cotton underwear, it's totally fine for the waistband to be spandex. That's 100% okay. Personal care products. This one goes a little more in depth. So number 1, cologne, right? Fragrance. Artificial fragrance from colognes causes lower fertility. All smells are particulate, meaning that anything that you smell gets absorbed into your body, into your bloodstream. That might be a gross thought to think about, but it's factual. When you expose yourself and you're breathing in cologne, you are breathing in endocrine disruptors. You are breathing in things that will hurt your natural testosterone production, your fertility, your virality as a man. Next is soaps. A lot of mainstream soap brands contain endocrine disrupting chemicals. Bisphenols, phthalates, sodium benzoate, many different things, okay? Invest in a quality soap. That means something that is natural. That means something that uses the ingredient that soap is, which I believe is sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide. One of those two things. That's what cleans, okay? All of this extra stuff in soap is not necessary. Dr. Bronner's is a great brand of soap. Facial cleansers and moisturizers. Guys, you don't need anything to wash your face if your diet is where it needs to be. You don't need any skincare routine if your diet is where it needs to be. If you're doing the rest of the things that we're going to talk about, facial cleansers and moisturizers are not necessary. And if you absolutely have to use one for some reason, use water to wash your face, and then you can use beef tallow or you can use coconut oil to moisturize your skin after. But these are not necessary. You do not need a skincare routine. Your health is your skincare routine. Your diet is your skincare routine. Not some concoction that you buy from Target that comes filled with endocrine disrupting chemicals. Next, deodorants. When you apply deodorant on your body, you are directly applying something to the site of a lymph node. Whatever you apply there, if it is toxic and it can be absorbed into your skin, will directly absorb into your lymph system and flow around your body. So when you buy deodorant from the store, Old Spice, Axe, Speed Stick, those types of brands contain aluminums. They contain other endocrine disrupting chemicals as well. And when you apply aluminum to your lymph nodes, it absorbs and it circulates your body. And aluminum is neurotoxic. It's also an endocrine disruptor, okay, in high amounts. You do not want this stuff floating around. Aluminum is just one of the horrible ingredients in deodorant. There is a plethora. I don't even have them all memorized because there's so many. Invest in a quality deodorant, something that is non-toxic. There are a lot of quality brands on the market. Another thing is they are petroleum-based a lot of the time. Anything that is petroleum-based is most likely an endocrine disruptor. So eliminate deodorants, swap to a good alternative. Dr. Squatch, for example. I'm not saying that their shampoo is great. I'm not saying that their body wash is great. Their bar soap is pretty good. But their deodorant is a quality product. They list what they use for fragrance on their website. Next, toothpaste. The only thing that I use on my teeth is baking soda. I do not use a toothpaste. What you do, you get some baking soda, you pour it into your hand, you wet your toothbrush, you dip your toothbrush in the baking soda, and you brush your teeth. You do not need toothpaste. You're exposing yourself to mass amounts of fluoride. You're exposing yourself to things like triclosan, which is another endocrine disruptor, causes estrogenic feminizing effects in males. You're exposing yourself to neurotoxins when you use conventional toothpaste, okay? Some quality brands of toothpaste. Dr. Bronner's, Hello, baking soda. Next thing is your toothbrush. Think about this, right? We want to avoid plastics as much as possible. What are you doing when you brush your teeth with a plastic toothbrush? You are spawning microplastics into your oral cavity. Stop using plastic toothbrushes, guys. There are quality brands that produce boar's hair bamboo toothbrushes. BPA and microplastics. It's found in cans, the lining of metal cans, whether that be a can that you drink out of, whether that be a can that has sardines in it, whether it be a can of peaches, right? It all has BPA coating the inside of that can. Plastic containers. It's a main source of BPA, okay? Receipt paper. You do not want to work a job where you're touching receipts all day. And if you do, wear nitrile gloves. When you touch receipts, you absorb some of the BPA from those receipts. Contrary to what anybody wants to tell you, receipts aren't a big deal. That's why you're fucking small and feminized. Because you don't care. Receipts should not be touched. I don't even know why we use receipts. They're not something that's beneficial for humanity. Next, dishes in kitchen. Food storage, like we just went over, you do not want to be using plastic containers. You want to be using glass or metal containers. If you put a piece of food that is fatty into a plastic container, it is going to absorb more microplastics because microplastics are lipophilic, meaning they bind easily with fat molecules. Right? It is a petroleum-based product. It all comes from oil in the ground. Oil likes oil. They bind together. So when you put fat in a Tupperware container, it becomes saturated with microplastics, especially if you expose it to heat, say in a microwave, for example. You are literally ingesting just straight up endocrine disruptors. It is disgusting. Cooking utensils. If you are using one of those black plastic spatulas, you are exposing yourself to not only microplastics and plasticizer chemicals that leach off into your food, but PFAS forever chemicals. Chemicals that do not degrade. When you have something that is made of black plastic, it's most of the time recycled electronics. These recycled electronics are made with PFAS in them. They do not degrade in your body. They stack up over time. They decrease fertility. They have feminizing effects in men. Eliminate plastic cooking utensils completely. Metal cooking utensils only. Butcher paper and parchment paper. This is another big one. If you go and you buy parchment paper from the store for $5.29 for a roll, that has forever chemicals on it. Anything non-stick, like parchment paper, other food packaging that is non-stick, has PFAS in it. It is what makes it non-stick. It is extremely toxic for your body. It's extremely toxic for your hormones. It's extremely toxic for your health overall. Butcher paper over parchment paper. If you can find a quality butcher paper that is literally just a thick paper that you can wrap your meat in, put it in the freezer, that's what's going to be optimal. People will take this parchment paper, put it in a baking tray, put food on it, and bake with it. You're cooked, brother. Next, we have cleaning supplies. Simple Green, whatever that purple shit is, Clorox. All of your household cleaning products are toxic for your health. Do not spray some cleaning product, be huffing that shit in while you're cleaning. Do your absolute best not to breathe that stuff in. It is horrible for you. Another thing, laundry detergent. Invest in a quality laundry detergent, guys. These laundry detergents that you're using have horrible ingredients in them. When you wash your gym clothes, you put on your gym clothes, you go to the gym, you sweat in those gym clothes. This laundry detergent is still in the gym clothes. That's what's giving it its scent, and it is absorbing into your skin through your sweat glands. And if you go to the store and you look at these laundry detergent labels, they don't list the ingredients. Why do you think that is? They are horrible, disgusting ingredients that they put in these things. Endocrine disrupting chemicals. Invest in a quality laundry detergent. Your health will thank you and your hormones will thank you. All right, next, we're going to go into sleep. We're going to start with temperature control. When you are going to bed, what needs to happen is your core body temperature needs to cool down in order to slip into deep sleep. So you need a cool room, preferably around 62 degrees, and your core body temperature needs to drop for optimal sleep. It mimics what happens in nature. If you're outside, in most climates, the sun goes down, it gets cold during the nighttime. This is what our body has become accustomed to over the course of evolution. Make sure that you're sleeping in a cool room, as cool as you can make it. Next, we have light diet management. This is extremely important. This is one of the most important things when it comes to getting proper sleep and quality sleep. You need general sun exposure throughout the day. I don't care if you live in a colder climate that doesn't get a whole lot of sun. Light from the sky acts the same way. You need to be exposing your eyes to light every single morning. When you expose your eyes to light, it starts a hormonal cascade that preps you for sleep 16 hours later. Put your eyes on the sky in the morning. All these people talking about, oh, if you look at the sun directly, you're gonna go blind. You know what? I'm gonna calm down. If you look at the sun for a couple seconds, you're not gonna go blind. It's very beneficial for your body. It's very beneficial for your hormones. Am I saying stare at the sun for 5 minutes straight? No, I'm not saying that. But you need to put your eyes on the sun. I'm going to say that one more time. Every single morning, within the first 15 minutes of you waking up, you need to put your eyes on the sun or your eyes on the sky. This spikes your cortisol, which is a good thing in the morning. And all of this works on a rhythm. If that rhythm is disrupted, it confuses your brain. It confuses your suprachiasmatic nucleus. That's the scientific term of the portion of your brain that controls your circadian rhythm, right? When that gets confused, it throws off everything else in your body. If you're waking up earlier than the sunrise, go outside as soon as the sun starts to come up. Get that sunlight in your eyes. Next, artificial light management. Here's why this is important. Say you go outside. Within 15 minutes of waking up, you get your sunlight. You get that morning light in your eyes that starts this hormonal cascade to make you tired 16 hours later so that you can slip into deep sleep and produce the right amount of testosterone. You come back inside and you sit under a bright white LED in the evening time, 4 hours before you're going to go to bed. What do you think this does to your suprachiasmatic nucleus, your circadian clock? It throws it the fuck off because your brain thinks it's still daytime. People think this shit doesn't matter. This matters. Turn off the bright white LED artificial lights in the evening time. Best case scenario, 4 hours before you go to sleep. Worst case scenario, 1 hour before you go to sleep. The higher degree that you follow this, the better your sleep will be. If you need light in the evening, you can use red lights. I have a ring of red lights around my room that I turn on in the evening time so that I can still see. Get rid of bright white LEDs. They are killing your circadian rhythm. They are cooking your mitochondria. This affects so many more bodily systems than you guys realize. It is crazy the amount of people think that this is woo-woo. When do you have your last meal? People ask me this all the time. This is all going to be personal preference, right? In the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. As long as it is more than 2 hours before you go to sleep. It gives your body enough time to actually assimilate the food, have it partially broken down, and make the process of digesting while you're sleeping much easier. Do not have massive amounts of sugar in the evening. Little bit of rice, whatever. Couple pieces of fruit, it's whatever. But when you have 100, 150, 200 grams of sugar in the evening, you're cooking your sleep. Testosterone and high insulin do not go together. Total hours and time in bed. 8 at the bare minimum. Not 7. It is 8 at the minimum. The more, the better. Consistency of your bedtime is just as important as the amount of time that you sleep. Say that you go to bed at 10 p.m. and you wake up at 6:30 a.m. That is 8.5 hours of sleep every night. You're doing that on a consistent basis. That means that your body knows exactly when to produce testosterone at exactly what time in exactly what amount, and it does it to a high degree of efficiency because you are consistent with that. The body likes rhythm. The body likes the same pattern. The body optimizes itself when things stay consistent in your life. So the time that you go to bed is just as important as the amount of time that you spend in bed. Most people's sleep schedules are so fucked that they go to bed, they say they got, 9 hours of sleep when they only got 6, because 3 hours of that sleep didn't count because it's not on a consistent basis, right? When we talk about actual time spent unconscious versus actual sleep time, there's a difference. You can buy an Oura Ring, you can buy a Whoop, and you can track things like this, right? It tracks actually how much time you spent actually asleep versus how much time you spent in bed. This stuff matters, okay? Sleep quality matters. Routine, morning and night. You need a set morning routine. You need a set nightly routine. Doesn't have to be long. It does not have to be complex. The body likes rituals. Rituals prep the body for what it's going to do. And in this case, it's either going to wake up or it's going to sleep. Obviously, morning sunlight needs to be a part of your morning routine. Hydration needs to be a part of your morning routine. If you drink coffee, that needs to be a part of your morning routine. If you want to write out your goals for the day, that needs to be a part of your morning routine. You need a set ritual to wake up with, and then you need a set ritual to go to bed with. This could be swapping the lights in the evening time 2 hours before you're about to go to bed. That gears your body. Okay, it's like, okay, we're going to start going into sleep mode here. You could write in the evening time. You could read fiction. What you don't want to be doing in the evening time is making your routine, I'm going to watch TV, because you're blasting yourself with blue light that's going to keep you awake. That's going to confuse your body's circadian rhythm. What you don't want to be doing as a nightly routine is working out directly in the evening. You need to have a ritual for your wake up and a ritual for your night. This preps the body for what it needs to do. Sleep environment. We said a cool room, cotton bed sheets or linen bed sheets or silk bed sheets, not polyester bed sheets. The best supplements for proper sleep. There are many that you could take, but there's only one that I take and that has worked consistently for me over the years, and that is magnesium glycinate. I take about 450 milligrams before I go to sleep every night. Magnesium helps to lower cortisol overall, lower your stress. It helps with over 300 enzymatic processes in the body. It is a requirement to manufacture high levels of natural testosterone. You're giving your body magnesium directly before you go to sleep so that it can do the things that it's supposed to do during sleep. Magnesium glycinate is magnesium bound to a glycine molecule. The glycine in magnesium glycinate helps to calm the nervous system down, cool off your core body temperature. Nutrition. This is a very, very, very important topic. When you get to a point where you have trained for a long period of time, when you have ate good foods, quality nutrient-dense foods, for a long enough period of time, you develop something called true bodily awareness. And this is this state of your subconscious mind knowing exactly what nutrients you need, what foods contain what, and it gives you cravings based on that. Versus what most people have is no bodily awareness. They crave these fast food products, these hyper palatable processed carbohydrates that are engineered to make you crave them. That is not bodily awareness. There are two separate types of carb cravings, okay? There is the carb craving that a fit, athletic weapon of a person has, and then there's the carb craving of an obese, fat, poor health person. The obese person's carb craving is caused by an addiction. The fit person's carb craving is caused by an actual need to fuel performance. It is the need for energy, and they are two separate feelings. When you develop true bodily awareness, you begin to tell the difference between real hunger versus fake hunger. There's a sweet spot where you're going from eating a standard American diet and you switch to healthy foods, and although it may be painful in the beginning, there's this switch that flips. And it just clicks, and your body knows what it needs, and it knows what it doesn't need. This is a superpower that most people do not have. It is like a sixth sense that we were all born with, but left as we ate more and more processed food. So, hydration. Do not drink tap water. Tap water is actual poison. Quality water. What does quality water mean? It means reverse osmosis filtered water with electrolytes added to it. You can either get a reverse osmosis filtration system installed in your house, or you can go to many box stores and they have reverse osmosis refill stations at them, where it's like $2.50 for 5 gallons of reverse osmosis filtered water. You take that reverse osmosis filtered water and you either put an electrolyte powder in it, sea salt in it, or trace mineral drops in it. This is necessary. Your body needs this, especially if you're training very hard on a consistent basis. When you filter water with reverse osmosis, it strips it of all of the negative chemicals, the nasty chemicals that damage your health. It also strips it of its electrolytes. So we need to remineralize that water. The next part of nutrition, the base diet. Very simple. These are the only foods foods that you need to be healthy, to have high energy levels, to have optimal levels of natural testosterone. Okay, and they are red meat, eggs, seafood, organ meats, fruit, and raw honey. This is all you need. Everybody wants to overcomplicate nutrition. It's not the carnivore diet. You're still eating carbs. You are still fueling your performance with glucose and fructose, but it's a very simple model that will not cause excessive amounts of inflammation. You can actually fuel your body properly, give your body foods that it is ancestrally equipped to deal with, and eliminate all processed foods. I promise you, if you do that and you just eat these foods, you will feel like Superman. You will feel amazing. I get countless messages where people are like, Scotty, bro, I started eating like this. I feel phenomenal. My sex drive is up. My performance is crazy. My physique is just compounded, right? This diet is the key. So red meat, grass-fed versus grain-fed. Guess what? It doesn't fucking matter. It really doesn't matter. Unless you're getting grain-fed beef from a very low-quality source, it doesn't matter that much, guys. Most beef is grass-fed and then grain-fed for portions of its life. Most grass-fed beef is grain-fed at one point. Most farms actually let their cows roam pastures and graze on grass. More than half of grass-fed beef is an actual scam because there are loopholes that they can use to where they feed these cows grains and then for 6 months it was fed on pasture. Like, there's all these loopholes. It doesn't matter that much, okay? Cows are ruminant animals. They filter out toxins very well. They have a very solid digestive tract, and it makes for very high quality, nutrient dense foods. Red meat from ruminant animals, cow, bison, sheep, goat, deer, venison, those types of animals. That's going to be the base of your diet, especially if you care about optimizing your testosterone and optimizing your muscularity, your masculine physique overall. Red meat gives you power. Red meat gives you cognitive performance. Red meat gives you more nutrients than I can count. Creatine, carnitine, taurine, freaking every performance enhancing compound is in red meat. There's a reason that there's tribes in Africa like the Hadza that hunt for meat. They fuel themselves with raw honey and they just fucking hunt, dude, because they know the power that is in red meat. Next is eggs. Red meat is the base for building muscle. Eggs are the cherry on top for feeling amazing overall. Why? Because they're very nutrient dense. They're high in choline, which helps your mental performance. They're high in so many different nutrients, guys. They're one of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet. And they are super high in cholesterol, which your body can use to manufacture testosterone out of. The thing is, with eggs, the quality and the type of eggs that you eat matters, okay? So we want to go with corn and soy-free eggs. These are the best of the best. Without making things too complicated, the yolk of a conventional chicken egg that you buy from the store for $3 a dozen has a high amount of linoleic acid in it because the chicken is fed a diet of corn and soy. Whereas if you were to get corn and soy free eggs, generally these chickens are exposed to large areas of land where they can roam and they can eat bugs, which add to nutrient density of the egg yolk. They are not fed corn and soy, so the linoleic acid content in their eggs is much lower, which means your body will be subjected to less oxidative stress from eating these types of eggs. They are just overall more quality. If you can find duck eggs are some of the best eggs that you can eat. Next, seafood. Specifically for number 1, protein, super amazing lean source of protein. Number 2, iodine. Iodine is very important for the thyroid. We do not get enough of it from the food that we eat. If you're eating eggs and you're eating seafood, you will get enough iodine. Seafood also has cholesterol. It's got a bunch of other good stuff in it. You want to go with wild caught only. Why do we want to go with wild caught only? Because farm-raised seafood is exposed to things like antibiotics. They're housed in confined areas where disease spreads. They rot on top of each other. There's pesticide runoff that they're just constantly exposed to. Farm-raised seafood is horrible. Wild-caught seafood only. Next, organ meats. Organ meats are like nature's vitamins, nature's supplements, okay? Different organs provide different benefits. When you look at something like liver, it's super high in vitamin A. When you look at something like heart, it is super high in CoQ10, which is amazing for your mitochondria. Kidney is high in other nutrients. Each organ provides different benefits, and they are something that should be a part of your diet if you train hard on a regular basis, and if your goal is max virality, max vitality, max performance, max output, and just eating a nutrient-dense diet that makes you feel amazing. These should be a part of your life. Next is fruit. Now, why are we consuming carbohydrates? Why don't we just go carnivore? I think if you want to go carnivore, do it. It's an amazing tool for fat loss or for fixing certain health issues, or for fixing your metabolism in general. But the thing is, when you eat carbohydrates before athletic performance, athletic heavy activities, training combat sports, it just makes the experience so much more enjoyable. I've done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitions, pure carnivore, while I was fasting. Took gold. Right? It's 100% possible to do athletic activities on a carnivore diet. It is just more enjoyable to eat fruit, to eat honey, to fuel those athletic activities with carbohydrates. And if you're an athlete and you're on a carnivore diet and you're doing athletic activities, you're going to the gym, you're lifting, you're doing cardio, your sex drive is not going to be where it could be. It's not going to be super high. If you have a lot of body fat on you, it's going to be different. If you have body fat on you, say you're 20% body fat or higher, you can do a carnivore diet and your sex drive is going to be amazing up until you get down to start seeing your abs, you get down to a lower body fat percentage, then SHBG starts to go up, your free testosterone starts to go down. Am I saying that's a bad thing? No, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's a nutrient-dense diet that you can subsist on for an entire lifetime. Right? Carbs are not a necessary macronutrient, but they do help lower cortisol, fruit in specific, honey in specific. They do fuel athletic performance, and so I use them as a tool to do so. I am not sitting here binging on carbs whenever I feel like it, whenever my body wants it. Like I said a minute ago, when you develop a high degree of bodily awareness, your body starts to be accustomed to eating a certain amount of food, and your subconscious knows how much physical activity that food can fuel. And so you will just start eating how you're supposed to eat and maintaining a good body composition. That's what happens when you transition into a diet like this. So the carbohydrates that we use are fruit and raw honey. When you start adding in things like grains, things like oats, it throws a wrench in all of this. These are the two most optimal carbohydrate sources on the planet in terms of performing well while also maintaining a good degree of cognitive performance at the same time. Rice is okay. The thing is, with rice, grains in general, it's a trade-off. You're trading mental performance for physical performance. Versus with fruit and raw honey, you can pretty much binge out on fruit and you get zero negative mental effects. I've eaten 10 pounds of oranges. I'm not exaggerating. Felt amazing. Felt fine. Increased my physical performance. If anything, it increased my mental performance as well. Now, I've eaten a lot of rice in one sitting. I'm sure that you probably had this experience before. You eat a giant bowl of rice, your brain takes an absolute shit for the next 2 days. Your cognitive performance is not there. So, there's a trade-off that you have to make. Are there other things that you can add into this diet depending on your goals? Yes, but these are the most well-tolerated carbs, okay? We've been eating fruit since the dawn of time. We've been eating raw honey since the dawn of time. This is a very spiritual food. Now we have to look at organic versus conventional fruit. You always want to go organic. If you cannot go organic, you always want to go with fruit that has a protective peel on it. Think about a banana. You have to peel it. That peel protects it from pesticides, okay? Think about an orange. You have to peel it, protects it from pesticides. A watermelon has a rind that protects it from pesticides. Raw honey. All raw honey is not real raw honey. You do not want honey out of plastic because they heat honey up before they pour it into these plastic containers, at least if it's conventional honey. This is what they do. When you are heating up honey and you're pouring it into a plastic container, it is becoming saturated with microplastic. You do not want honey that is saturated with microplastics. You want organic, raw honey. And then you might be wondering, okay, well, that's cool. What do I cook my meat, eggs, and seafood in? Grass-fed butter, beef tallow, duck fat. Any fat that comes from an animal source. That's it. There are no nuts in this diet. There are no seed oils in this diet. There are no omega-6 polyunsaturated fats aside from the ones already endogenously found in meat, eggs, and seafood. There are no omega-6s other than those because the omega-6s found in red meat, eggs, seafood, organ meats are all of the omega-6s that you need. You're already getting an overabundance of omega-6 when you eat red meat nowadays because of what these cows are fed. You do not want to go in, cook with seed oils, and add excessive amounts of linoleic acid on top of that. That's going to lead to more oxidative stress and inflammation, contrary to what all of these counterculture fitness influencers want you to believe when they're spewing garbage about seed oils not actually being unhealthy. Linoleic acid, one of the primary omega-6s, does cause excessive amounts of oxidative stress in the body. Your body will preferentially store linoleic acid as body fat. It will preferentially store omega-6 seed oils as body fat because your body doesn't want to burn something that causes excessive amounts of oxidative stress. Your body is protecting you from this oxidative damage that these seed oils cause by storing them as fat. That's what humans do. We store toxins in our fat. Seed oils are not good for you. Excessive amounts of seed oils, excessive amounts of omega-6s damage your body. They cause inflammation. They cause brain fog. They cause lower physical performance. They damage your mitochondria. Next, nutrient density and ROI. This is one of the main reasons that we're eating the way that we're eating. When you intake calories, you want those calories to be accompanied by micronutrients. If those calories are not accompanied by micronutrients, you get fat. That is why we have such an obese population, because people are being sold energy with no micronutrition in it. When you eat a food, think about the ROI you're getting for that food. You should always be consuming food for micronutrition. In certain cases, you can consume food purely for caloric benefit, like before athletic competition, before athletic training, things like that where you need serious fuel that you're going to burn through, right? But for the vast majority of your eating, it should be planned, it should be calculated, and you should be thinking about the return on investment that you're getting for what you're putting in your body. So if we take spinach, for example, spinach doesn't have bioavailable nutrients. It's not even really a good energy source. It is a zero ROI food. You are not absorbing the magnesium from it. You are not absorbing the calcium from it. You're not absorbing the iron from it because of the oxalates and other anti-nutrients found in the spinach. Yet people want to tote it as a health food. No, this is how you need to think about it. Now, when we look at steak, for example, it is nutrient dense and also energy dense at the same time. That is high ROI. Same with fruit. The fruit has vitamin C. It has enzymes that might help you digest foods, vitamins and minerals in it, generally that aren't bound up by anti-nutrients. Fruit, high in energy, high in nutrients. Twinkie, high in energy, lower in nutrient. Which ROI do you think is better? Which return on investment do you think is better? It's the fruit. When you eat a steak, the saturated fat can either be burned as energy, it can be used to create new hormones, it can be used for other processes in the body. So think about nutrient density and ROI, return on investment for the food that you're putting in your body. It is one of the most important principles that you can get a grasp of and implement into your life. Next, elimination of seed oils. We already talked about seed oils, okay? Reduction of omega-6 intake overall. This is something that needs to happen for every American. You need to reduce your omega-6 intake. Like I just said, excessive amounts of omega-6s cause more oxidative stress in the body. Oxidative stress causes inflammation. Linoleic acid in and of itself is estrogenic. It binds to estrogen receptors. It causes estrogenic genes to be expressed. It does not bind to estrogen receptors and act the exact same as estrogen, but it does bind to them and it causes estrogenic gene transcription. Linoleic acid does this. Doesn't have to be soy. It doesn't have to be flax. It can be any linoleic acid in any omega-6 oil that does this. So when you consume excessive amounts of omega-6 linoleic acid, you create a higher degree of estrogenic gene transcription in your body and a lower degree of androgenic gene transcription in your body. Are omega-6s necessary in your diet? Yes. You will get all of the omega-6s that you need from animal products. As a matter of fact, you will get more omega-6s than you need from animal products because of the diet that these animals are fed. You're already in a negative situation with omega-6s if you're eating a healthy diet nowadays. Adding seed oils on top of that makes everything far worse. It creates a softer body composition. Next, eating for fat loss. A very, very, very easy way to eat for fat loss is the carnivore diet. And you can pretty much eat as much as you want on the carnivore diet and still lose body fat. Guess what? A calorie deficit is not required for fat loss. A calorie deficit is required for weight loss. They are two separate things. Too many people think that they are one and the same thing. You can lose body fat while you gain muscle and your weight can stay the same. So eating for fat loss, you could do a carnivore diet, you could do protein sparing modified fasting, you could do fasting in general, you could do intermittent fasting, you could do a calorie deficit, you could do an animal-based diet with a calorie deficit. There are so many ways to eat for fat loss, and you have to select one that works best for your situation, your body type, your mental model, your patterns and habits that you have at this point in time. Let's talk about bulking now. In order to build muscle, you need what? A positive nitrogen balance, meaning that you're taking in more protein than you're getting rid of. Everybody will say, 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. It's not enough. It is not enough if you want to optimally pack slabs of muscle on your body. One, to 1.5 grams of protein at the minimum. 1 gram at the minimum, not 0.7, not 0.8, 1 gram per pound of body weight at the minimum. And if you want to optimize this, eat 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. Stop listening to these little people telling you, you don't need that much protein. Everybody's already getting too much protein. Can you build muscle eating 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight? 100%. I'm not saying it's impossible to build muscle doing that. I'm saying if you want to build the most amount of muscle possible, eat 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. What do we got next? Post-workout nutrition. Steak, carbohydrate. Protein, carbohydrates. That's it. You want something to refill your glycogen stores so that you have energy next workout, so that you get a massive pump next workout, and you want some protein so that you can build your muscle. It's going to depend on your goals. If you want to lose body fat, don't eat carbs after your workout. If you want to gain muscle, eat carbs after your workout. You put your points into where you want to go. You can lose body fat, you can gain muscle, or you can do them both at the same time. Doing them both at the same time is a slower process. So you generally pick one. Anyway, pre-workout nutrition. For the vast majority of people, unless you have a specific goal of increasing HGH, what I recommend is that you have carbohydrates pre-workout. Something fast digesting, 30 minutes to 15 minutes before your workout, something like raw honey, something like fruit, something like fresh squeezed fruit juice, something that is a fast digesting carbohydrate that gives your body immediate fuel that it can use right then. This creates a better pump. And then on top of that fast digesting carbohydrate, dark chocolate. It has L-arginine in there, which helps to pump. It has magnesium in there. It has stearic acid in there, which is amazing for you. It also has myostatin inhibitors, which allow you to build more muscle. It's not a crazy effect. It's not steroid-like or anything like that. But myostatin inhibitors over time will allow you to put more muscle on your body, right? Cacao is an absolute superfood. I'll have electrolytes or sea salt in my water in combination with creatine. And I personally take a high dose of creatine before my workout, around 7 to 10 grams per workout. Mix that with electrolytes. The electrolytes help the absorption of the creatine. They also give your muscles more power. Your body needs sodium in order to contract your muscles with efficiency and with force. That's what my pre-workout nutrition for lifting looks like. Now, if I'm doing combat sports or a more athletic activity, my pre-workout nutrition will look virtually the same. Maybe with a little bit less creatine, more water, little bit more sodium. I don't always use salt before my lifts. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I will always use salt before an activity where I'm going to be sweating profusely, like combat sports, like running, like HIIT cardio, something like that, okay? So virtually the same. It's a little bit different in salt intake. Both of these, so lifting or combat sports, I take 2 grams of taurine pre-lifting or pre-combat sports. It's a performance enhancer. It's an amazing supplement. You should be taking taurine if you are not already. Next, we got foods that lower testosterone, bad ingredients, and how to shop. Do not, under any circumstance, consume chewing gum. Chewing gum is literal plastic with endocrine disruptors mixed into it. What the hell are you doing chewing plastic? Aspartame, all these other weird ingredients too. Horrible for you. Do not consume chewing gum. Weird chemicals in food. You want to read your ingredient labels and become a wizard with the ingredient names. How do you do this? You read your ingredient labels and you Google. And if something is not a natural ingredient, if something is an artificial ingredient like aspartame, like sucralose, like aluminum phosphate, like all these sodium benzoate, right? All these weird ingredients. A good rule of thumb is just avoid them. And then you're gonna have people that on the internet that are like, ingredients aren't bad. Like, okay, well, is having a healthy gut barrier good? Is having your gut barrier fucking obliterated, eviscerated, evaporated by a polysorbate compound good? No, it's not good, brother. Polysorbate 80 is not good, and it is not healthy even in small amounts. That's another argument that these people will make, right? They'll say, oh, well, it doesn't meet the requirements to be an unsafe amount of this chemical. Guess what? There is no unsafe amount of steak that you can eat. It is all healthy. That's what I want to put in my body. I do not want to put a chemical into my body that can have toxic effects like aspartame, like sucralose, like polysorbate. Polysorbate is disgusting in any amount. I don't want any of these chemicals affecting my biology because even if you ingest parabens or phthalates or some endocrine disruptor like that, it is not at a level where it's going to kill you. But guess what it is going to do? It is going to offset your hormones, lower your testosterone, and cause feminizing effects in you. Whether it's in the range that can kill you or not, it's going to do those things, okay? Even if you have a drop. If you have a drop of phthalates, you take a drop of phthalate, you're cooked. You are cooked. Your hormones are fucked. Most of these chemicals contribute in some way to infertility. Does that mean they're going to kill you? No, they're not going to kill you. It's not technically unsafe to consume these chemicals, right? And what they mean by unsafe is, are you going to die? Are you going to die if you were to drink one little drop of bleach? No, you're not going to die. Would you put that in your food? No, you wouldn't. Why? Because it can have negative effects even if you don't die from it. It's common fucking sense. So avoid weird chemicals. Outer aisles, stick to the basics. Avoid the inner aisles of the grocery store. This is where all the processed bullshit is. Stick to the outer perimeter of the grocery store. This is where, fruits are contained. This is where meats are. This is where quality butter is. This is where all the good stuff is. On the outer aisles of the grocery store, not the inner aisles. Stick to the outer section. Next, we got mindset. Your subconscious and your conscious mind influence hormones in your body. Your perception shapes your hormones to a certain extent, right? I'm not saying that this is everything, but this plays an effect in your hormonal profile. Placebo or not, your perception shapes your hormones. So we're talking about maximizing testosterone levels. You cannot have high levels of natural testosterone and have a loser mindset. Those two things do not coincide. So when we're talking about curating a mindset for high testosterone, for getting what you want out of life, exuding your will in the world, so long as it's purposeful and it's an endeavor that helps others, this is what we're talking about, okay? Converting losses into lessons. When you lose, testosterone goes down. When you win, testosterone goes up. And if you can convert in your mind and develop a framework of thinking about losses or shortcomings that you've had and flip them into lessons that you will learn from, it takes a loss and it turns it into a win. So you are essentially always winning. And if you're always winning, your testosterone is going to be higher. Any shortcoming that you run into, any loss that you run into, any hardship that you run into can be converted into a lesson, right? It all goes back to perspective and your way of looking at the world. And if you learn from something, it's a win. It is a net positive overall. Convert your losses into lessons. Ambition/purpose. And this goes back to the middle section here as well. Purpose, right? Forward momentum. If you don't have a purpose, your testosterone is not going to be where it needs to be. And it's almost a negative feedback cycle, because if your testosterone is not where it needs to be, you're not going to have purpose either, man. You need a purpose. You need something that higher than yourself that you're working towards. This is necessary for men. Forward momentum. When you optimize your testosterone, your diet is good, your overall health is good, and then you have a purpose, that creates forward momentum. This forward momentum keeps you locked into what you're doing. It keeps you healthy, keeps you sharp, keeps you on your toes. Without forward momentum, a man's life is dull. Some things take away forward momentum. Distractions, lust, phone, video games. And if you take away forward momentum, you lose your sense of purpose. And when you lose that, it's very hard to get it back. So testosterone feeds ambition. Ambition feeds testosterone more. Ambition feeds purpose. Non-compromisable morals and values. Live by a code. Listen to me. If you don't know what kind of man that you want to be, you're like a dandelion seed floating in the wind. And if you're a dandelion seed floating in the wind, your body has no reason to give you high levels of natural testosterone. So when you develop a system of non-compromisable morals and value that are righteous and just and that are true to you, and you live by that code, it creates more self-trust and it creates a foundation for you to operate from. A man with no morals and values is a slave to his emotions. He's a slave to the world. He's a slave to external circumstances. Self-trust, keeping promises to yourself. When you have self-trust, your testosterone is higher. It is a mental model that creates higher testosterone. When you can trust yourself and you know that if you make a decision in your head, if you say something out loud, that it's going to get done, it crushes anxiety, which is the next thing. It all leads back to keeping promises with yourself. Self-trust and dealing with anxiety come from keeping promises to yourself. When you have less anxiety, your testosterone is higher. The positive feedback cycle. When you are doing all of these things, when you have a purpose, when you have ambition, when you're converting losses into lessons, when you have forward momentum, when you have non-compromisable morals and values, when you have self-trust, when you're keeping promises to yourself, this creates positive feedback, and it's a cycle. When you're doing all of these things, your body knows you're on the path. Your body knows where you're going. It knows what it wants, and it knows that you're living morally, righteously, and justly, staying true to yourself over anything. And it creates a positive feedback cycle, meaning you're more likely to eat the right foods, meaning you're more likely to train hard. You're more likely to sleep correctly. You're more likely to stick to the correct habits that you need to have. This forward momentum feeds in on itself, and your testosterone goes up even more. Your vigor for life goes up even more. Your well-being, your drive, your ambition goes up even more. It's positive momentum. When we think about negative momentum versus positive momentum, it feeds itself, right? Negative momentum will feed itself, but positive momentum will feed itself. And that's how a lot of these mental models interplay with testosterone. The higher your self-trust, the higher your testosterone is going to be. And the higher that your testosterone is, the higher your self-trust is going to be. It's kind of this chicken or the egg phenomenon, right? Especially when we talk about confidence. But when you have high testosterone, you speak your mind and you stay true to yourself. And even if you don't have high testosterone or good hormones or good health right now, speak your mind, stay true to yourself. The more that you do this, the higher your testosterone will be over time. Affirmation and goal setting, we'll go over that here in a second. The competitive environment. One of the highest leverage things that you can do to increase your testosterone, that is not, sleep, diet, training, supplementation, is putting yourself in an environment where other people are in a competitive mindset. A good analogy for this, for competition, being in a competitive environment, is a jiu-jitsu gym. I've been grappling for the last 5 to 7, 8 years. When you are in a jiu-jitsu gym, it's a competitive environment, but it's not toxic competition. A jiu-jitsu gym is camaraderie in combination with competition, and generally the people that are doing combat sports want to better their life. They want more for their health. They want more for themselves than the average guy that goes in and eats 5 pizzas on the weekend. I'm sure you get what I'm saying, right? Being around these types of men, being around other men that are competitive, other men that are driven, will upgrade your hormonal profile. It will upgrade your life. It will upgrade your mindset. It's one of the best things that you can do. Putting yourself in uncomfortable environments and putting yourself in competitive environments intentionally. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning, but it is a necessary thing that needs to happen. You cannot be a man in this world and keep yourself sheltered from competition your entire life. You should be competitive. Affirmation and goal setting. For high testosterone, just to live a good life in general, right? Because that's what all this is about. Set goals that you can achieve on a short-term basis, on a medium-term basis, and goals that you can achieve on a long-term basis. You need to set those goals and believe that you can achieve them. This feeds back into purpose. This is something I think a lot of men need to hear. If you're in a bad point in life, if you have low testosterone, if your diet is bad, write down a list of affirmations, say them in the morning, and say them before you go to sleep at night. Write out what you want to do with your life, and write it as if you've already done it. If you have the goal of eating better foods, if you have the goal of losing 50 pounds, write out, I have an aesthetic body. I lost 50 pounds of body fat. Whatever you want it to be, right? Write it out. Say it in the morning. Say it in the night. Do not miss a day of doing that. This is reprogramming your subconscious mind. I know we've gotten way off of the topic of hormonal effects and health in general, but this is something as a man that you need to be doing. And my goal with all of this is to help men not just increase their hormones and health, but also their mindset. So write what you want your life to look like. Write exactly how you want your life to look, and then write it as if you've already done it, and read that every morning and every night. Your life will change completely. It will not happen immediately, but it will happen. Next. Training mentality. Growth is not easy, brother. When you enter the gym, you should be enforcing your will on the weights. Enforce your will on the weights. Do not go in there and go through the motions like a freaking beta male. You need to go in there and you need to train with intensity. Train to failure. Everybody wants to argue on the internet nowadays. Oh, but is failure optimal? Recovery. Shut the fuck up, brother. Lifting to failure builds muscle, and it builds muscle better than leaving 2 or 3 reps in reserve. Use your testosterone to train. Use your masculine energy to train. Lift to failure, and you'll grow. Lifting program. Prioritize movements that work multiple muscles at the same time. Okay, what does that look like? Bench press, squat, shoulder press, pull-ups, rows, dips. Movements that work multiple muscle groups at the same time are going to be the best for your hormones and producing an actual testosterone response. And your lifting program is not a space that needs to be hyper optimized. Lifting is one of those things that everybody wants to overcomplicate, but it's really not complicated. You learn the basic movements, you learn what a bench press is, you learn what a squat is, you learn what a side lateral raise is, you learn the movements, and you're good. At that point, program it out, and then go to failure on those exercises. I do roughly 3 full upper body days a week, and then I do a leg day. That's how I train. If you're new to lifting, yes, a lifting program is necessary. Get a program that works for you, stick to it, go to failure, do that. Next is HIIT cardio. After you do a HIIT cardio session, if you actually go balls to the wall, you're going to get a metabolic benefit from it where you're going to be burning more calories throughout the rest of the day. It's an amazing form of cardio, much better than long, steady state cardio. Great testosterone benefits from it, amazing growth hormone benefits from it. You can build muscle doing HIIT cardio. Next, combat sports build your endurance and they provide you with a space for competition. But even more than this, after you've been doing combat sports for a couple years, you get an insane level of confidence because you know that you can handle yourself. There's this phenomenon where you meet another man and you're thinking in the back of your head like, can I take this guy in a fight? When you've been doing combat sports for a long enough period of time, you don't get that anymore. It's now a difficulty slider. So instead of saying, hey, can I take this guy in a fight? I shake someone's hand. If they're aggressive to me, there's this little thing in the back of my head where if I think about it, it's just, okay, what's the difficulty level of me beating this person, of me subduing him if he was to attack? It's no longer if I can, it's just how difficult would it be? And that's the point you want to get to, right? You want to have confidence when you walk into a room. You want to have confidence when you're dealing with other people. And combat sports will give that to you. Next thing is intensity. You need to be working out with maximal intensity. Carbs will help you do this even more. High testosterone helps you do this even more. But working out with intensity also helps you get higher testosterone. It's a positive feedback cycle. So the things you do in the gym will transfer to other things in life. The things you do in the combat sports gym will transfer to other things in life. All of these facets affect everything else. It's all interconnected. Daily movement is absolutely necessary, especially if you work a desk job or you are, sitting for a lot of the day. I myself belong to that camp. So I have to supplement my daily movement. You need to be getting 7,000 to 10,000 steps at the very bare minimum every single day. Every 1,000 steps over 8,000 that you get during a day increases testosterone by 7.7 nanograms per deciliter. Every 1,000 steps over 8,000. It's just important for your metabolism. It's important for keeping a lean body composition, moving blood through your body so that you stay healthy, moving lymph fluid through your body so that you stay healthy, right? It's important for so many things. Make your daily movement a habit. While you're out here getting your steps in, boom, you got an audiobook on learning about something that you're passionate about, learning about something that's going to contribute to your purpose. Next is the time you work out. It doesn't matter all that much as long as you're keeping it before 4 hours of going to bed. The further you can kind of push that out from bedtime, the better it's going to be. When you work out, you get a hormonal cascade that can keep you up, right? Cortisol spikes. The next and final section here, supplementation. We'll go over the base 5 first. These are the most important supplements that everybody should be taking regardless of diet in the modern day. Vitamin D, vitamin K2, boron, magnesium glycinate, and cod liver oil. When you're selecting a vitamin D, make sure that it's not compounded with soy oil because that's a massive issue that happens. Take your magnesium glycinate before bed. With cod liver oil, make sure it's quality. If you're getting non-quality cod liver oil and you're like, oh, I'm just going to go buy the cheapest fish oil supplement from the store, you're cooked. You're cooked. You're going to get the opposite effect of what you want, right? Omega-3s should decrease brain fog. But what happens when you take an oxidized omega-3 supplement or a omega-3 supplement that has gone rancid is it actually causes brain fog. It causes more oxidative stress. So make sure you're getting a quality omega-3 or a quality cod liver oil supplement. Next, for muscle growth. Obviously, creatine. That's really it. The rest of these are going to help muscle growth indirectly by benefiting testosterone levels, but for direct muscle growth, creatine. Now, we went over the base 5. Those are the most important supplements that everybody should be taking regardless of how good their diet is. Everybody needs these. Some additions that you can add on. Tongkat Ali. This is an amazing testosterone booster. You must cycle it though. Okay, in my experience, Tongkat Ali starts to stop working after the second month, and you get some high estrogen side effects, right? Or some low estrogen side effects. That's not something that you want. Contrary to popular belief, you want a good ratio of estrogen to testosterone. So if you are going to experiment with Tongkat Ali, you can cycle it 1 month on, 2 weeks off. It's shown to boost testosterone, 50, 100 points. We just point period blank need more research on Tongkat Ali. Okay, and what mechanism it's actually increasing testosterone through. What seems to happen when I've used Tongkat Ali, my testosterone will go up, my libido will go up, I'll feel phenomenal, and then after about the 1 month mark, everything drops off, start getting more irritable, don't have as much energy during my workouts. So that's just my experience with long-term Tongkat Ali supplementation. Like I said, cycle it 1 month on, 2 weeks off. Next, Shilajit. This is a phenomenal supplement. It's a game changer. I've been taking Shilajit for the last 2 years. You want to get something that is lab tested. It gives you more energy. It increases testosterone, both total and free. It has trace minerals in it. I think most men should be taking Shilajit. Taurine. This is so slept on, it's crazy. Decreases oxidative stress and improves your testicular function. Decreases oxidative stress in the body. That leads to less free radicals in your bloodstream overall. Leads to less toxin buildup in your testicles. It's also a performance enhancer. I take 2 grams every morning, and then if I lift or do combat sports on a given day, I'll take another 2 grams before my physical activity. Next, L-carnitine increases androgen receptor sensitivity. What does this do? This allows testosterone to bind more easily to androgen receptors and create androgenic gene transcription inside of your cell. You have androgen receptors in your brain, you have androgen receptors in your muscle. When these androgen receptors are turned on by testosterone, it creates masculinization, creates bigger muscles, creates a sharper mind. This will make you more focused, more driven. It's amazing. Next, supplements to avoid. Excessive zinc consumption. Notice zinc is not on the big 5, because if you're eating the diet that I gave you, you should already be getting enough zinc. And too much zinc can have the opposite effect of what you want. Too much zinc can cause high SHBG, especially if it's not accompanied with copper, and it can lower your free testosterone. It can cause other issues as well. And most zinc supplements are dosed at 50 milligrams. 50 milligrams of zinc in one sitting is asinine. It's way too much zinc to take. If you are going to take zinc, which in some cases I recommend, go with 15 milligrams of zinc with 2 milligrams of copper in combination. Supplementation is very individual specific. And in order to get a good supplement stack, something that really works for you, there needs to be a little bit of self-experimentation involved. It all depends on your goals. These supplements, the base 5 and the additions here, are for max testosterone, max libido, max overall health, max physical and mental performance, and building a strong aesthetic body. Stay away from ashwagandha. Contrary to popular belief, ashwagandha is not a quality testosterone booster. It crushes cortisol into the ground, which can cause effects like anhedonia. It can cause other issues as well, okay? You never want to crush cortisol into the ground. And when you have anhedonia, it takes away the emotions that fuel you to work out with intensity. There are some cases, some people need ashwagandha supplementation or would benefit from ashwagandha supplementation, but the vast majority of men that are looking for a quick fix pill do not need ashwagandha, and in fact, ashwagandha will end up doing more harm than good. The next one is lion's mane or reishi mushrooms. If you want more information on this, you can go on Reddit and just look up lion's mane recovery. It is sickening what this mushroom does to men. It is absolutely disgusting. It blocks androgen receptor sensitivity. Reishi decreases DHT, which is not something that you want. Same with saw palmetto. All 3 of these right here. Do not take these guys. I know that people say that DHT is responsible for hair loss. You should want low DHT, No, it is responsible for spatial awareness, optimal spatial awareness. It's responsible for controlled aggression. It's responsible for power output. It's responsible for muscle maturity. It's responsible for sex drive, penile length, girth. All of that. DHT is the masculinization hormone. It is what actually turns you into a male in the womb. It is not testosterone that does that. It is DHT. It is dihydrotestosterone. And when you crush DHT, you get horrible side effects. Look up lion's mane recovery. Look up post-finasteride syndrome. These are not hormonal changes that you want. Turmeric, not good for DHT production. That is the high test, optimal performance skill tree. Guys, I run a community called High Tier Human for men who want high levels of natural testosterone, optimal mental health, mental performance, optimal physical performance, better emotional control, higher libido, overall well-being, a strong aesthetic anabolic physique, overall health, all of these benefits that we talk about here. If this is what you want, this community is for you. If you want access to me for questions, support, guidance, if you want to be on live calls with me, if you want access to all of the courses and guides that I've created inside of this community, and a community forum and a brotherhood of other men on this same path, click the link in the description, join High Tier Human, and I'll see you inside. And remember, boys, in a world full of don'ters, be a doer.